Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another episode of the best mods of the week in Baldur's Gate 3's Mod Manager. We got a very exciting episode here with Dawnstar's Necromancy spells. If you've used these mods before, you'll know they come with a lot of cool VFX, which we'll be covering in this video. We also got some more PvP mods. We got a mod that makes Astarion look like Neil, which you can see there actually makes him feel like a vampire. It's cool. There's also some body texture mods, there's some hair mods, and much more we'll be getting into. As for Dawnstar's Necromancy spells here, this adds 3 new cantrips and 11 spells to bards, warlocks, sorcerers, clerics, eldritch knights, and wizards, and what they end up looking like. So you got your cantrips here. We get the Pain Puppet doing 1d6 piercing and necrotic, summon a wool and adult woven with dark magic, stabbing it as it harms a target of your choice. If you have a blood offering, you inflict it with bleed, and targets with more than half their health points take 1d4 necrotic and 1d4 slashing instead. There's also the Bone Dust Tongue here, which can affect 3 targets, preventing them from receiving heal, and if they have Pluck Life, you regain half the damage you deal as health. And the Pluck Life here, so mark a living target's soul, they die from necrotic damage. If they die from necrotic damage, you regain 1d4 health points, bonus action for 1 turn, and that sets up the Bone Dust Tongue. We also get the Seance spell here, 2d8 of necrotic damage. On a failed saving throw, the target becomes haunted, attack rolls against it will have advantage, and its movement speed is halved. There's also the Witch's Spell doing a 2d6 necrotic damage, kind of an explosion attack, and if they suffer from it, they get disadvantage on constitution saving throws and disadvantage on attack rolls. Level 2 spells, you get the Blood Offering, which makes you take 2d8 necrotic damage, and melee attackers within 3 meters who deal physical damage to you take the same amount of damage per turn. Pretty cool ability. And while active, you gain the spell Death Dagger, which I'll show off in a moment. We also get the Soul Prism, which gives you 10 temporary health when they're depleted. The prism shatters, releasing essence to heal allies within 3 meters for 2 to 16 health. It's cool. Level 5 grants us the Soul Bomb, doing 3d8 necrotic damage in a 3-meter radius, and at the start of your turn and next turn, dealing damage to the enemies over the turns. And you also get the Death Ray, doing a 3d8 necrotic damage, which is a beam. Targeting corpse leaves it untouched, but its lingering essence amplifies the ray, erupting towards a nearby enemy, doing 6 to 48 necrotic damage. Level 4 gives you the Mortalis Aeterna, which explodes a corpse, makes an aura which gives you maximum healing and necrotic resistance, and enemies attacking will have disadvantage on their attack rolls. It's kind of cool. And then also the Storm of Souls, summon a 3-meter storm of spectral skeletons. Each turn, the storm surges, dealing 4 to 32 damage, risking enemies becoming maimed, reducing all their movement speed. It also gives you resistance to necrotic damage, and your attacks ignore necrotic resistance, and you cannot be frightened. You'll see the Grave Binder. Enemies that fail a saving throw become grave bound. They temporarily lose a quarter of their health points and disadvantage on attack rolls, and attack rolls against them have advantage. When they die, the killer regains 2 to 16 health and gains advantage on their next attack roll. And you'll see the Death March. Target up to 4 corpses, and necrotic rift opens up on each of them. The corpse's decayed matter is consumed to forge a spectral skeleton that rises to fight for you. And the 1 level 6 spell is the Final Offering. Lay down your life to reshape the battlefield. On a sacrifice, you collapse only 1 health point for 3 turns until you pull your essence back together. During this time, you cannot move or take actions. Bonus actions or reactions, and disadvantage on all saving throws. Enemy attacking you have advantage. And what's cool is this has 3 different effects. So it gives you the Ascension here, so it can heal all your allies for the maximum health points equal to yours, and then also gives everyone an extra action. It's huge. The Oblivion will do a 10d10 necrotic damage, exploding on all enemies around you. And there's the Dreadwake, offer your soul to the void, and in your final breath, relieve a silent dread. Enemy becomes feared and overwhelmed with the truth of their own mortality. So yeah, these spells are pretty strong. You see there, it got cool VFX with that book opening up. And that's one of the things that's pretty sweet about these spells, is all the VFX from Dawnstar's spells. A lot of these, the target has to be dead, but you got things like the Death Ray here. It only lets you attack enemies, so I can't actually attack teammates. I guess I'll do the big nuke attack here. So big explosion of all the skulls. Yeah, this just looks absolutely absurd. So much detail went into these mods. And there's your character, all ashy and crumbly, recovering with that 1 health point and advantage on all enemy attacks. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Like, for example, here's the Seance spell. The animations for these are just absurd. So very well done. And yeah, you can see that there. Cool ghosts haunting over them. And the Witch's Spell, you hold up a heart over a witch pot here, and you go ahead with that exploding attack there, spraying it out. Yeah, insane. And then here's the Pain Puppet, which you pull out that puppet and stab it, making the target take damage. I'm blown away every single time I see a Dawnstar mod. And then here's the Grave Binder, so you go ahead, all the skulls shoot out like that. Yeah. And here's the Storm of Souls, which you can shoot in a large radius. It'll create the skeletons that fly around in that specific area, and the targets there will take damage. The VFX on these are just insane how well done it's been. And finally, there's this spell here. I guess you need a dead target. So I'll go ahead here with turning this into a corpse. So you can just go ahead with this spell here, and it'll create a skeleton out of the corpse. Really cool necromancy spell there. And then you have a Death Marcher, which does its detonate self, or it has a bone strike attack. And when you explode that there, that's what it looks like. Pretty cool. Don't want this video to be too long, so I'll cover this in a future build guide in the future. We also got PvP VFC. So this is part of what was used for some of the PvP games. So it's a balance system for PvP. Spells are rebalanced, items are changed, ability to play with friends. You can give control to AI and train your strategies. I previously posted another PvP mod. I may do a future video just kind of breaking these down a bit further detail. I think it's really nice for those who want to, you know, play against their friends. Now, I think that this is cool. Ylthia's Neilstarion by Ylthia. So this literally does what you see there. It makes Astarion look like Newbon. So yeah, this is interesting. It still feels like Astarion, but it literally just has a more Neil-like appearance to it. Very cool. So yeah, check that out. You may be interested in that, or even the 6-pack Be Gone. Astarion Body, Virtual Body Texture. This removes his abs because, I mean, he's a vampire. With Gale, at least it makes sense he's using magic for that, and Will is probably quite fit. But for Astarion, he's a vampire. It kind of makes sense for him not to be super jacked. Then we also got the Huntrix Kpop Huntrix inspired hair pack by Poisey Libre. And what these look like, so we got one here. This is the Mira's pigtails hairstyle there. The dyes work on them as well, and I'll put this all the way up to max so you can see what it looks like at max dye. And then we also have the Rumi's hairtail braid. And then there's the Shorty's version of it, which is a little bit shorter. Zoe's buns. It looks pretty cool. Mira's pigtails alt. Zoe's buns with a split hair color choice. Rumi's braid shaved. So a little bit thick or thinner on the sides there. And the Shorty's version of that there as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool depending on what size you want there. I like this. Again, more options for hairstyles, the better. And next we got the Flosilvanus Outfit Dryad Inspired Armor Sets by Barry Semifreddo there. And this adds a new outfit to the game, and it's a cool looking one. So it comes in this fancy little bag there. And then there's a few different versions of it. It looks similar to the Dryad armor with a few different like flowery looking appearances to it. It also has like there's a leafy green version too, and then there's one without the leaves. So just depending on which you prefer, pretty fancy. Another armor mod, this is the Rustwolf Visual Additions for Body Type 2 by A.Yes Reaper, and this is a pretty cool one. So I'll show you all the items that come with this. So you get the whole Rust Wolf Maw here, so this gives you the ability to see in Magical Darkness, -2 to Charisma. They look pretty sweet, so I'll put the helmet on there, the Rust Wolf Greaves, claws, and then you also have the War Pelt there, giving you armor. And then there's this helmet here, which is a like a underwear slot, so you can have that over your normal outfit. Same with the camp clothing version of that. They come with some special abilities: increased critical hit chance, circuitry interference, momentum for 3 turns, +2 to initiative, +1 dexterity saving throws. Helmet gives you the blindness, constitution saving throw check advantage, -2 charisma, +5 intimidation, resistance of poison damage. Reduce all common damage by 1, disadvantage on stealth checks, +1 to strength, dexterity, and movement speed +2. So yeah, some pretty special abilities, and this looks cool. And this one here adds in this new cloak. And the cloak only appears on body type 2 and the Gith body type, so just a heads up on that. Now this is a cool mod, Boo Evolved by Xaon there. And this is similar to the other mods that they released a couple weeks back with like the Shovel Evolved, Us Evolved, Owlbear Cub Evolved, Tara Evolved. This allows you to level up Boo, which you do get him pretty late in the game. So probably the sillier of the bunch. Boo Evolved turns miniature giant hamster into a Way of the 4 Elements throwable powerhouse. So there isn't too much room to play around the level progression since you get Boo near the end. So I doubled down on his signature move, which is go for the eyes, Boo. Boo now gets key points to either keep him alive, to use for damage when thrown. I keep the health points the same amount since he is miniature. And you got Boo dancing just like that with his special enthrall spell, which kind of works like the cat's meow. There's a lot of different benefits here. So like whenever Boo goes down, there's a special buff that goes to Minsk. The Rashamar's Mark, which will give him a free critical hit on his next attack if Boo goes down. And if he's a Beast Mage or not, he will also get the Companion's Bond and Prey Scent on top of Boo there. I'd recommend checking any of these out if you like the idea of being able to level up your companions and their companions. Now this is a cool one, Lay Hands buff. So buff Lay Hands, now they all heal based on the character level, ×2 and ×4 the range of 3 at 3 additional charge and care. Lay Hands just isn't super useful, but this makes it a little bit better. By mod.io user 7AO. We also got permanent spells. This is a pretty cool quality of life. So this will make it so that there's 20 spells in the game that are now permanent and not going to expire after long rest or anything. So it does become a bit overpowered. But things like Long Strider, you're probably going to be applying pretty much every long rest, and just makes it a little bit easier. Featherfall, Speak Without Animals, Aid, Barkskin, etc. This gives you, it's a nice quality of life, I think. So I thought I'd include this here by I'm Freya. Now there's also Lunar Spells, Paladins, and Clerics. This basically gives you Lunar Blessings, so surround yourself in Pillar of Selune's light, inflicting Moonbeam on nearby targets, but you get the Lunar Smites, which are pretty strong. They can be upcast. They're pretty powerful, I'll be honest. They don't use the action and bonus action like they normally would, so it's just an action that it takes. You also get Lunar Flare, similar a mote of Moonlight that spills radiating holy fire in a 2-meter radius. That's pretty cool too. Lunar Bulwark as well. An upcasted Moonbeam and Sunbeam there. So yeah, Lunar Spells for Paladin and Clerics. Next up is pretty cool. Kira's Circle of Bones. This makes a change to the Circle of Bones. So it increases the AoE from 6 meters to 30, or 6 meters and 9 meters, 30 feet, and grants Incubate Death instead of Animate Dead. So that's pretty nice. For Kira May has made a lot of really great mods. I've covered their Realtor, the Kira's Kill Count, which allows you to see how many enemies that you've taken out in a game. Really cool. We also have another one here with the Kira's Kushigo, which adds a 1d4 bonus of bludgeoning damage to unarmed strikes with the gloves that inhibit Kushigo, which is just a nice change. Makes them a lot more viable as an option. And we do got a few class mods like the Lightbender, which kind of focuses on being somewhat of a healer. Here you get a lot of cool effects like the Shining Light, which can do damage, or heal and regain 1 light point, which you then use to cast some more powerful abilities. So your abilities don't use spell slots, they use the light points, which is a special resource. You get a lot of abilities as you continue to level up. I don't want to make this video way too long and cover every single thing in this. I will be likely covering this in a future best new class mods video, so you can check that out then. If this sounds interesting, you maybe check out the page here. It's got a lot of healing abilities, which are pretty interesting, but don't want to drag it out too long because we also have some other cool things like the Paladin Oath of the Hells. This adds some new fire spells to the Paladin and makes it kind of like almost like an evil based Paladin, like this one here, which will do a 1d6 fire damage per turn, impose disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. It's pretty cool stuff. Level 2, you get poison and fire damage resistance, and just replaces the divine health from the Paladin. You get the Seal of the Damnation, doing 1d6 force damage to the target you try to apply the seal to, and inflicts that damage every round, incapacitated all for 3 turns. Pretty cool. You get Hex and Hellish Rebuke, Oath spells, Eldritch Blast, and Scorch and Ray. So yeah, you can summon a Hell's Boar. It's a pretty interesting kind of fire-based Paladin. And we also got the Way of the Kishin Monk here. Now, it won't appear from Ebo using the 5e Monk subclass combined, but yeah, this adds a new Monk subclass. It's kind of focused on being like a multi-class for Warlocks, Sorcerers, Bards, and Paladins as a charisma base, and it uses that for primary ability and spellcasting, and it also gets a bunch of different special abilities, reducing fire necrotic damage by half your charisma modifier. You get the Smiting Strike, so Seer Brand, Thunder, and Wrath. You also get cantrips from the combined Warlock and Sorcerer spell list. You gain Consume Soul. And as you continue to level up, you get a lot of really fun abilities. Once I get this sorted out, I may cover this also in a future video. This is by Purple Source Rex. And finally, the last one we got is the Dark Knight Demon Hunter set. I saw this one's getting actually quite a few downloads this week. And what this adds is a few new pieces of armor. So you got like the Demon Tusk Ring, makes your bones unbreakable, your senses sharpened, keen in insight and perception. The Dark Knight Greatsword adding additional damage, imbues the sword with an inhuman strength when facing giant enemies, steal the soul of enemies and heal yourself. Would also gives you resistance to steel and fire, and you get the Demon Flare as well. Pretty cool options there. You get the boots here, increasing movement speed by 5 meters. You get a dash. You can reduce deflecting blows, reduce damage from ranged weapon attacks by 1d10 plus strength modifier. This gives you to see in dark vision through magic, imbues you with certain calmness, making you immune to effects that disrupt emotions, grants you the ability to intimidate your foes into submission. You also get a ring here, imbues you with the pad, basically gives you history, magic, and religion advantage there. The amulet will give you some healing, and the armor itself is pretty powerful too. You can just pause that there if you want to see it. I think it's pretty overpowered armor. It may be for someone. I've seen it was getting some decent amount of downloads, maybe because of the image there, but yeah, it's something maybe interesting. So there you have it. This outfit is actually called the Hunter Outfit by Ren. It's available in the in-game mod manager as well. I know I'll get a couple of questions asking about it, but pretty cool week. I love the Necromancy spells. It's huge. I'm going to likely do a build on this in the future as well. The PvP is also pretty nice, and then everything else that we got this week was pretty cool. So let me know your favorite mod from this week. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.